All right. Well, thank you for showing up to our little panel today. We got some great panelists here. My name's Austin Davis. I'm the founder of Blockchain Beach and the Global Hackathon and many other companies over the years in the industry, including a lot of application layers and great things that we've been getting into. I'm working with Jonathan as well down in Costa Rica with the Fuzion group. So that's a good segue into Jonathan White. So Jonathan, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're up to? That's good. Good start.
So, Jonathan White from Fuzion Group. One of our first products that we just launched is our Fuzion Exchange, based down in beautiful Costa Rica. And some of the other things that we have on the go are blockchain data centers tied in with renewable energy.
All right, thank you. And Chris Perna, tell us a little bit about DSF protocol. I know you're doing a lot with derivatives and the underbanked, so
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, so hi, Chris Perna from DSF Protocol. So we're developing a protocol for creating and writing and settling options, derivatives. We're starting with options with cryptocurrencies as the underlying. So our protocol creates a token which represents a put or a call option, and then those follow the same practices of American options, but for cryptocurrencies instead of equities or other entities, assets.
Got it. Okay, thank you. And then we have Antonio Brasse of Blockquake. How are you today?
Doing good. I'm definitely going to be talking to this guy afterwards.
Absolutely. Yeah, the derivatives market is one of the biggest, so absolutely. So tell us a little bit about Blockquake and what you're doing that's different.
Yeah, sure. So I'm co-founder and CEO of Blockquake, and we're launching late May, early June, a global unified digital asset exchange. We're really trying to tackle being that one-stop shop for tokenized assets, pursuing our BD ATS license for upcoming security tokens. We'll have 7 fiats available upon go live. Just really, and we're looking to be, regulatory conscious. A lot of our team is from financial services. Done a lot of business, technology, regulatory remediation work. So we're trying to bring a lot of that knowledge to the space.
And I remember watching something from you in the past about the speed of your exchange, how you're going to be a lot faster than some of the current models. So tell us a little bit about the speed and transactions.
Sure. So a lot of the exchanges that have existed for a while, it's a lot of legacy tech, a lot of the newer exchanges like ourselves and some of the other companies that are out there, it's built on equities technology. Mm-hmm. So it's built to scale up and handle more transactions per second.
So average right now being on a big exchange, about one?
Yeah. So I know that the matching engine that we're utilizing, it's already been tested for more than 10 million transactions a second.
And right now, I think the average for the big ones is like 1.5 million.
Yeah.
So that's a big leap.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
and then
sure.
part of it too is business continuity.
Right.
That's actually been the bigger issue with the space, because as volume comes into the platform, people haven't reacted fast enough. So one of the things that we're doing is, as we see increased volume coming in, if we see CPU usage hitting close to 50%, we're just spinning up another server. So we're not waiting it to kind of peak out at 80, 90%, and then it might crash on you before you get a chance to.
Got it. Okay, great. Now we also have Tsai here of Mass Capital. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Great.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. And I know that you're known as the king of shells from your work in the 90s. So tell us a little bit about the past and what you're doing with the new exchange.
Okay, I got into the financial industry in 1995, and in the 90s I created 101 public shells. And now I'm into the security token business. Mm-hmm. Mass EX is a security token exchange which we launched last month to trade securities, commodities, forex, and digital asset. And our bold mission is to list 11,000 Chinese and Asian equity security tokens within 3 years. Okay. And Mass EX's highest stock listing board, the universal board, we will adopt AI-based continuous due diligence on companies with the monthly reporting standard. We achieve this by using cloud-based internal control and accounting systems.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. So now that we've done some quick introductions, let's dive into some of the current topics and issues in this industry related to exchanges, trading, and liquidity and volume. So volume being an easy target, let's tackle that first. A lot of the volume that's out there is purportedly a fake volume created by bots and market making and other various factors that people are running on the back end. So anybody can take this. I'll leave it up for anyone just to tell us your thoughts about that and what you're doing to combat that and show the market how you can be different. And obviously it's a new market, so there's always things like that. I mean, let's be real, there's things like that on Wall Street too. They're just accepted. They're called the norm now. But since this is a new industry, we do have to live by different standards and show that we can be different. So anybody want to take that one?
Yeah, I'll jump in. I'll
Sure.
actually piggyback off what Aaron just said.
Okay.
We need reporting standards. He brought up reporting standards. There's lack of transparency in the space. So
Yep.
when that news broke, we were talking as a team that, when we go down to DC once upon a while to lobby, talk about this stuff, I think regulators need to require some type of maybe quarterly reporting on trading activity to really vet out what's real, what's not.
Right. Yeah, and I think there should be more audits that are happening. I mean, a lot of people self-scrutinize and put themselves under audit, but it should be more mandatory. I mean, a lot of it's still the Wild West out there and unregulated. I know CoinMarketCap was one of our sponsors here at the hackathon that we did. Anybody in the room from the Global Hackathon at the moment? All right. Thank you, guys. Yeah, so these guys are building really amazing things in real time. So tying it back to CoinMarketCap, they're getting a lot of heat right now for listing some of this volume, but they're just grabbing what's being reported by the exchanges. So they're just a data aggregator, and they've got an API where you can plug into. So it's up to us and the exchanges to really have the ethical and moral standards to audit, self-audit, and get rid of that type of data. And I think it'll happen naturally over time. It's still a brand new market. Jonathan?
I'd like to add on to that by saying I think this is where regulation comes in, that the more jurisdictions where exchanges position themselves and adhere to ethical standards and regulatory standards, this will help clean up this so-called fake volume.
Right. Yeah, so regulation, that's one of the reasons why Fuzion is in Costa Rica, correct?
Yes, correct.
Because of, tell us a little bit about how they view this type of asset down there.
In Costa Rica, digital assets, virtual currencies, they're deemed legal. The direction that's not clear, and which government is taking leadership from us to help us educate them, is the instruction to the banks down there is if you wish to bank or support one of these digital asset exchanges, then you do so at your own risk. And so that's kind of the disconnect. But I think we're going to solve that and cross that bridge fairly soon with the support that we have from Congress in Costa Rica.
Okay, great. Now, who wants to talk about trading and what kind of incentives you're giving people to trade on your various platforms? I know a lot of them are new. Aaron, okay, let us know about that.
I'll talk from a different angle.
Okay.
Okay, the trading on crypto exchange basically eliminate the intermediaries, such as broker-dealers. The increasing number of stable coins, utility, and security token will also change the landscape of trading. MassEX, we provide multi-class asset trading, which will open up the possibility of crypto bartering. For example, you can trade a fractional ownership for a piece of Picasso art, for fractional ownership of the new 360-degree rotational building in Dubai. Okay? And regulatory trading issues for security tokens can be solved by technological solutions. For instance, KYC and exchange trading limitations can be dealt with by issuer-controlled smart tokens. Token IQ, the MassEX tech partner, offer just such a leading edge security token and issuer management platform.
Okay, great. Thank you. I have another. Does anybody else want to touch on trading? Since we're on that topic, I guess we'll go around.
I pretty much agree that
Yeah.
you just get with cryptocurrency trading
Mhm.
or digital asset trading, you get more efficiency. You cut out the middleman. Everything's all in one place.
Yep.
You get the trade done faster.
Yeah, I'm in a good position where my type of trading is very easy. I just hold on, hodl. It makes it easy for me, and I just like to build things. That's where I provide value, I guess. So I really want to talk about something that's a major problem in this industry related to exchanges specifically, is the collapse of said exchanges. And there's been so many over the years. Every year, if you look back, there's multiple instances. A lot of them aren't talked about very much because maybe they weren't that big, but it's a really big problem. That's why.
Like the Canada one, the fake dead guy.
Oh, Quadriga? that was a big one. I knew some friends that lost a lot of money in that one, and a lot of the other ones too. Mt. Gox was one of the first biggest ones that people point to. I'm a part of Gox Rising with Brock Pierce and Matt Rogers and a bunch of other folks, Carlo and everybody. So we're doing our best to be helpful to get in Japan to help people get their money back, and it's a long process. With the new announcement that the trustee just came out with in the bankruptcy process, I mean, it looks like it could even get kicked back into liquidation for a third time. So it's a challenging thing, and it's a major problem, and it's what scares people about this industry and why they don't touch it. You know, if you look at the difference in the market size of this versus traditional markets, it's dwarfed, so it's, a lot of people aren't even paying attention yet. So I think solving those problems, Cryptopia was another one that just got hacked. I think they're doing their best to try to turn that around, which is great. Einstein is currently undergoing, I don't know exactly what happened there, but I know people are having trouble getting their money out, so hopefully they'll step up and handle that before it becomes a Gox type problem. What is everyone here doing to maintain solvency and make sure that everything's above board? Yeah, Jonathan?
I'll kick it off and say I think part of this comes down to when I started talking about regulation and stuff earlier, so I know for us internally, there's no one person that has 100% control of the situation. And then secondly, I've surrounded myself with a team, a great leadership team, all of which no one person would ever sacrifice their integrity or compromise it. So I think that speaks volumes. If you have top-notch people on your team, high ethics, high standards, and will not compromise their integrity, and taking the control away from any one person.
Absolutely. That has been some of the problems with these other big collapses, is that one person ran away with the money or just was negligent in their running the company. So that's what caused it to collapse. Chris?
Yeah, just to comment on, we, all of us who are up here, who are even everyone in this room who are promoting this new industry, we also have to take a bit of, we have a responsibility to be ethical, and I think we're probably coming off a bit of a period where there were some scams, for lack of better words, that really we're all paying the price for now.
Yeah.
Of doing that. So that said, there definitely need to be firm, missions and organization standards that traditional companies have, but then again, one of the things that we have to do as the technologists, probably something a little closer to me, is that we have to believe in this idea of a distributed ledger and the premises about that, about its fairness, and just to make sure that as it's all involved, it's done in a very fair way, that so people can look and trust the technology behind it, and so us, evangelists, really have to, we have a responsibility to the community, I think, in a big way, that way.
To the community and to the global economy as well, because this is
if
a
you
growing
believe,
part of it.
If you believe the tokenization of physical and all assets, or many assets, yeah, definitely, this is the trend that we have to stand.
I think the beautiful thing about tokenizing, as we're doing right now, whether it's assets or even utility, it's a way to hold ourselves accountable for the resources that exist on this planet, because there's a limited amount of them. If you look at some of the issues with the economic theories that we're currently running our macroeconomic systems on, resources aren't really considered. It's basically profit for profit's sake alone. And that boils down to, from some of the research I've done, and I don't know if you're familiar with Jeremy Rifkin, he's an economist, and I've heard it from him, so I'm giving a shout out to him on that. But you know, he basically says that a lot of our economic theories, that all of our systems are based on now, are derived from Newtonian physics, because that was the trend of the day when they were all, you know, coming about. But the thermodynamic laws of the universe is really what governs all of our systems. If you look at it as a whole, so if you're not considering resources, you know, which is our most valuable asset, you know, the energy, the food, everything else, that, you know, the materials, that's the problem. That's one of the biggest problems. I mean, if you look at some of the trends that we're going towards right now, if we do have a major resource crisis, and there has been around the world, we just happen to live in a place where that doesn't happen in this country very often, but it could happen very quickly, actually, and that would be a major problem. So hopefully, everything that we're doing here, we should keep that in mind in the long run, is that not only are these systems created to generate and create wealth, but to maintain the system and create a better system that can be held accountable. So.
Yeah, and you know, when we were talking, talking about protecting investors and traders, we were talking backstage about the use of insured qualified custodians. So that's something I wanted to put out there, that that's something that'll help someone feel safer.
Sure. I mean, in my view, decentralized custodianship is one of the safest ways. Not that a person can't get hacked, but you know, you would have to hack millions of wallets versus just one major central silo of information. So tell us a little bit about how Blockquake is helping with this custodianship and providing that safety layer.
Yeah, so to the same point, no one person has control. Hot and cold wallets will be custodied within these different qualified custodians. We're using BitGo Prime Trust, and they've got their multiple layers of security. So if someone's concerned about a hack, you're talking about, got to break through the exchange, through their layers, then you have to break through the layers at the qualified custodian. Nothing's impossible, but becomes highly difficult.
Absolutely. I mean, the humans are the easiest targets. That's the starting point, right? Usually comes from social engineering, and it boils down through there. So, so Jonathan, I believe as well, you're working with some of the same custodianship partners.
Yes, we are. Yeah, we're working with BitGo as well to on the custodial side, and we're also using a couple of API plugins that on the KYC side that help validate the documents and IDs that they are valid and real, and as well as looking for trends within the transaction activity to detect things like arbitrage, market manipulation. So that will help as well with again, going back to the so-called fake volume that's being reported.
Absolutely, and from what I understand, BitGo's never been hacked, so that's a great claim to fame, because there has been so many over time.
Someone bring me a piece of wood.
Yeah, right. Keep it up, BitGo. Yeah, that is a major issue. So we're about halfway through, and to keep it interesting, I was going to do a little bit of trivia, and then we'll do a little bit more up here on stage, and then we'll open it up to the audience, because I want you guys to have your questions answered as well. So I have something to give away. It's not just trivia for trivia's sake. I mean, Bitcoin's what started this all in the first place, so it's all about those incentive networks. So I have some Bitcoin cold storage wallets to give away here, and an Ethereum as well. So I guess this is going to be hard because no one has microphones out there, but quick question. Does anybody know the global market cap for cryptocurrency currently, today? Rough estimate. Right here. That was the first one to raise your hand. Correct. Come up here and get your Bitcoin. Thank you so much. Okay, another quick, easy one. Does anybody know on the other side what the securities and financial asset markets are outside of crypto? Let's say the U.S. That's an easy one because the global is kind of big. U.S. financial markets outside of crypto. Oh, right here, you, sir. Okay, that is close enough. I'll give you an Ethereum for that. Come up here, sir. Thank you so much. And I have two more to give away, but I'm going to let these guys ask some questions because I don't want to ask all the questions. So does anybody have a trivia question in mind? Could be anything. Who is Satoshi Nakamoto? That's a gimme because nobody knows.
How big is the global derivatives market?
That's a good one. How big is the global derivatives market? Oh, I thought that was a hand. That was Ryan Calder with his thing. 150 trillion?
It's a little light.
Little low. Anybody else? Oh, I can't see in the light. I'm so sorry. Back here, you're raising your hand. 1.2 quintillion.
That's a very optimistic side. But
That's high. Right here?
yeah, that's
it.
about right.
Ding, ding, ding. Okay. You win a Bitcoin. And I have one more to give away. Anybody else with a trivia question up here? Jonathan?
Okay.
Aaron? Yeah?
Well, I'll ask a question that I don't think I have an answer either.
Okay.
Okay. How big is the current security token market today?
Oh, it's a fresh one. Does anybody know how big the security token market is currently?
Yes.
Not big enough. After the security token summit the other day, maybe. Well, I don't think anyone has the answer to that. It's so new. Unless I'm missing any hands here? No? Yeah, it's a good answer. Not big enough. It's up and coming. TBD. Okay. Now I'm just going to give this one to the first person to raise their hand. Who? I think it was you, actually. Who do you think Satoshi Nakamoto is? Okay, but you got to give me more than that. Who is this consortium? What type of people? What government? What group? What cypherpunks? Okay, that's a specific enough. Okay, you're a winner. All right, that was just some fun trivia to keep it interesting here. Thank you so much for entertaining that. All right, now back to the topic at hand. So, unless you guys want to cover anything else, I'm going to open it up to Q&A for a bit because I think that's oh yeah, go ahead.
I want to continue with that security issue we were
Yes,
talking about.
let's talk more about securities. Yeah.
Okay. Well, the problem with security issue on crypto is not much different from its traditional financial institution. The problem is it's centralized, so it requires internal control. So you cannot eliminate external or internal theft completely. It's based on how good your internal control procedure is. So, but the technology is taking us, as MASIX will be developing the decentralized version. Most of the exchanges today are centralized, although they trade blockchain-based cryptocurrencies. But right now, the decentralized exchange, because of the technology is not there yet to trade a large volume on a timely basis. So in the future, when the technology gets there, the decentralization will eliminate the problem we have today automatically.
Yeah. Some people out here might not be too familiar since it is such a new market. So can you tell us the difference between a security token and tokenized securities? Or can anybody? Or how about this? Just educate us a little bit here about what is a security token versus a utility token. Because securities are your specialty, so I'll let you cover that one.
Right, okay. Well, anything that's any asset that's securitized, that means that the token has had to have underlying asset. It can be physical or non-physical. So basically, anything on Earth theoretically can be tokenized. You can tokenize the land, the building. You can tokenize stocks, bonds, any financial instruments. You can even tokenize royalty income, a patent.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
Austin,
Yep, go ahead.
I've often used the saying to people, all tokenized securities are security tokens, but
Right.
not all security tokens are tokenized securities. It depends on the jurisdiction.
Right.
You know, with us traveling around the globe and talking to different people, their view of what a security is very different from region to region.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, unfortunately, the answer is it depends.
It depends on where
Yeah.
you are and who
Yeah.
you're talking to.
Yeah.
Perception. I mean, the U.S. pretty much, as far as I know, everything that is not Bitcoin or Ethereum could be a security.
Yep.
As far as the current regulation goes. But that's the good thing about laws; they're ever evolving. So don't break the law, but maybe push the line a little bit and help to change it. Speak with your congressman, senators, anybody that you can to create that change.
So I'll comment a little bit on utility tokens versus securities tokens.
Mm-hmm.
So in a basic sense, a utility token, and I'll just talk about, for example, our protocol is based on a utility token. So we have a community that participates in our function that provides a service in doing that. So a utility token in our case is that you have to hold that token to be part of the community, and,
Right.
And that's its utility in a sense. Being part of the community doesn't mean you own the company, right? And
So they're not shares of the company.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't have that. However, you need that to be.
So they give
a
you
member.
some. In your case, the tokens give you some sort of unique access or benefit
Correct. Right.
to the derivatives market.
I'll specifically on our case, members that hold our token participate in our settlement process, and in the settlement process, there are some incentives that, as a holder, that you compete for. That's how we get a fair settlement. But that said, owning a bunch of those tokens doesn't give you any specific rights to the company or anything along those lines.
So are you open to the U.S. market as well?
Utility tokens are available in the U.S. market, for us.
Got it. Okay, so you are. And I know, Jonathan, as well, your token that is tied to the exchange is also, it's an incentive token as well, right?
Yeah, it is an incentive token, and it would be, I consider it a revenue-based token. Every quarter, a percentage of profits from the exchange and from our blockchain data centers is being pushed back up to support the master token.
Got it. Okay. Anybody up here have a favorite exchange that's not yours, obviously? You must have used some before to get into this business. What are some of your favorite exchanges that have certain benefits or, customer service that you love?
Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
Customer service, that's something that there is a severe lack of. Right now, the exchanges that I go to use are based on the coins that they have and functionality. So if it's simple to use, it gives me access to the coin that I'm looking for, and I can see that it's safe and secure. But certainly the customer service is definitely an angle that we're pushing with Fuzion. For example, our OTC desk. You can call in and talk to Jaco, Director of Treasury Trading and Risk.
I mean, if I could call Google when I had a problem with Gmail, that would be amazing. So customer service, absolutely. They're in a position where they don't necessarily to have that big of a call center would be too big of a resource drain. But I do believe for an exchange that makes a lot of sense, and it would build a lot of trust to be able to pick up the phone and talk to somebody who's real, not a robot voice. Not like when you get the IRS scam robocalls, none of that, Yeah, it speaks volumes to building that trust and that network. So I salute that for sure. Okay, so we have a little bit of time here, and unless anybody has any more comments, I'm going to open it up to the floor so that people can ask questions to you, panelists, specifically related to these topics, or any topic in general related to this industry. So does anybody have a question related to exchanges, trading, liquidity, any of these exchanges up here? Any questions you have or topics you want to cover? How about you, Ryan?
I'm curious. Hi, Ryan Calder. Thanks for being here.
Yep. There you go.
Thank you, Stash. When I start talking about exchanges, I'm not an expert or anything, but it seems to be the topic right now for most people are the fees that Coinbase is charging based off of what they're offering. Do you care to talk about, the fees in terms of the clients that you have and, exchanges controlling the space so much?
I'll jump in there. It's one of the many reasons why we jumped into this space. Them and other exchanges, like sometimes the fees are just insane. They're just taking you for a ride. So we're taking the approach of just having just the trading fee, that's it. We're not charging a withdrawal fee if you want to hold custody for your own assets. We're not charging extra because we're utilizing a qualified custodian. So we're just trying to keep the fee model simple and understandable for the consumer. Yeah.
I have a long background in financial services, and one of the things that I've always focused on and kept the core to my service offering is that the fees are reflective of the relationship. So, for example, for someone that's a retail customer that wants to buy $500 or $1,000, then we have a default fee template that's very competitive in the marketplace. But if you're going to be an active trader, you're going to call in, you're going to speak to Yako, number one, and then we'll define a profile for your fees that's reflective of the volume that you're going to do. And that, I honestly feel the pricing should reflect the relationship.
Yeah, I like that. There should be loyalty both ways.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. I believe we have another question here on the mic. And if anybody has questions, feel free to form a line over here at the microphone. That'd be an easy way to do it. Or just raise your hand and I can call you out. Yes, sir.
What does an exchange look for in a new coin to onboard?
Good question. For a new coin for onboarding, what does an exchange look for? In my mind, it would be, is there any active trading? The first thing is, what's the team behind it? What have they done before? Is it a scam? Okay, you passed that first test. That's the easy one. Moving on, is there any other exchange, decentralized exchanges, any other trades happening with that coin? What else?
I mean, I think for a brand new, I'm sure both of us have like a 30-question due diligence list or however long it is.
Sure.
But I mean, ultimately, for a new project that's looking to get listed, other than the team, make sure it's not a scam. I do want to, see what the business use case is.
Sure.
If something is just off the wall and it's never going to make sense, that's reputational damage for us too. If you go and list that and the price tanks on the coin.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
As a question to both you guys,
Yeah.
so how does its current volume, trading volume, how much of a factor does that play into making your decision about whether you want to list the coin or not?
Well, I mean, if we're talking about a brand new project,
Brand
there
new,
is no trading volume on it,
obviously.
right? Yeah, I think it really comes down to the project, the team, and putting some faith behind it.
So listing coins that have very low volume is not unheard of.
I would look at the community aspect too, because if
Yeah.
there is a community, you probably will see some decentralized trades at least. People
Right.
just
Oh,
sending them
true,
back
true.
and forth, just as some use case
Gotcha.
testing and everything else. Just sending it to other people to spread the word, spread the community voice.
Yeah,
Yep.
we're actually talking to some projects right now. They've got some great things going. They have low trading volume, but if someone's got a really good project, you want to be able to give them a chance.
Got it.
Agreed.
Yep, and I know, for example, IDEX, one of the largest decentralized exchanges, they actually do a phone call with your team before they list you. So I really respect the exchanges that don't take a listing fee, because that keeps it non-biased and it keeps it open. I know Bittrex is one of those. They never take listing fees, as far as I know. At least that's what they say. It's really great when companies actually get you on the phone, they speak to you, or face to face, and they say, okay, we like what you're doing. We'll support you by listing you, and here's the terms. So, anything else? Yep.
I'll add to that. As far as listing coins onto our exchange,
Yep.
So the leadership team, I'll say our vetting process. So our leadership team takes the first round.
Yep.
And again, we're looking at the business use case, the size of the community, what the purpose is, and then if the leadership team thinks that it's worthwhile to take on, we then pass it on to our advisory board, because our advisory board again consists of people that are subject matter experts with years and years of experience. So we then pass that on to them for the second round, a second set of eyes. And if the verdict or the consensus is still positive, then we get back in touch with the project. So ours is a two-phase.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, so you bring the whole team into it. That's good. All right, we got a little more time, so a few more questions here. I want to address you guys. Hello,
Hey,
how are you?
Austin, very well. I just wanted to say I thought your question was great, or I guess the topic you raised of the finite nature of resources on this planet. That's what brought me to the Global Hackathon.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's fantastic. And I wanted to, I guess, essentially just raise your point again, if the rest of the panel might want to speak on this. I think for me, the thing very interesting about crypto, blockchain, all of this is a powerful tool that we now have the choice to say, what do we want it to do?
Sure.
And why do we want it to do that?
Absolutely.
So I put that to the panel. If it's not a priority, that's fine. You know, I'm just here to ask. Like,
Right.
if it is a priority, why? If it's not, why not? What opportunities do you see to address the issue of finite resources on our planet?
Yeah, and the reason I'm a little biased towards resources and materials and hardware and things like that, because my background's engineering. I have a master's in materials science, so it's definitely always on my mind when I think about these things. And I usually try to relate a lot to what we're doing in this transactional world to what our molecules are doing by transacting with one another, because it's very similar, and you can make correlations, and like it or not, we are part of nature and we follow nature and we're just evolving. So anybody want to touch on his question or his topic about the finite resources and what we're doing to...
I actually encourage any social impact projects to approach us. You know, it's a big focus of our platform, our team, to reach out and really support those type of projects. We're talking to a couple right now. Some of them are working with the UN. Some are their own private projects that they're trying to address different issues. So I just encourage people to approach us. We want to support it.
Yep. That brings up one that really is up to mind. Recently, a friend of mine who works for Magic Leap also has a side project, which is, I forgot the name of it, but it's supporting the coral reefs of the world, because if those go, we have a very bigger problem globally. So he's creating like a decentralized movement, an incentivized network to create communities that stimulate the regrowth of all these different coral reef systems around the planet. So like things like that are very important, because like I said, it's not all about the money. Money will turn to nothing once the resources are gone. So.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anybody else? Jonathan? Costa Rica has a lot of great green energy resources down there.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, we all know that blockchain, the databases are just getting bigger and bigger. More infrastructure has to be built, which is one of our other projects is to build blockchain data centers using liquid immersion technology. But of course, all this additional capacity to run these databases will consume just more and more power. So another reason why we chose Costa Rica, they have an impressive energy program, very environmentally conscious, and right now the country is running 98% on renewable energy. So we've plugged in directly for our MVP, we've plugged directly right into their grid, and so we're actually solving a problem for them as well now.
Amazing. Yeah, that's great. It's always good to work with the local economies where your company's based. One more, and then we'll jump to the next question.
Okay. When we get into the resources, we're getting to security token with the asset underlying the token. And the liquidity for the crypto exchanges are enhanced by the cross-border mobility, ease of investor access, fractional ownership, and the integration of the unbanked.
Absolutely. Thank you. Okay, next question.
Sure. Really loved your point on, people being potentially the weakest link in cybersecurity.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely.
And what I'd really love to hear is more elaboration on that. What's kind of the biggest cybersecurity challenge that's facing exchanges today, and how are you guys trying to deal with that?
How do you keep hackers out? Not just on the custodian side, like in general.
Almost all of them are inside jobs, right?
Right.
So the point he brought up addresses that. No one person can control everything.
Sure. Using password safes so that nobody actually sees the passwords ever. Not that those are 100% safe, but it is safer than having your screen or your eyes or anyone behind you ever seeing the password. Also, I believe for major private keys and things like that, distributing them. I know I listened to Radiolab a long time ago, and they told the story about how Zcash was created, and they had all these different guys from around the world meet up in one place ditched their phones, ditched everything. They put like covers over their keyboard, and they each created parts of the private key, and then they all came together, and like that was like the generation. So nobody ever saw the whole thing, and they didn't even see their part of it either. It was just randomly stroked
we've
keys.
actually talked to a few people that are doing the key partition. So now it's 2, 3, 4 pieces. stored in different places, and you'd have to hack all of it
Right.
to bring it together.
Right.
So that
Yeah, and I would say one of the major things is, as an individual, don't ever give your real cell phone number out, and also call your mobile carrier, because most of the hacks that have happened currently, happen through a SIM swap or something that's very easy to do by a low-level employee on the inside. So call your carrier and tell them never, never, never SIM swap, and get yourself on that list. That's at least one level of protection, and be as safe as you can personally. Okay, one more question, and then we are out of time, and we will keep it going.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you very much. And
Thank you.
and thank you, everybody. I think the last two questions were awesome questions. I'm going to bore you. I'm a lawyer from Costa Rica, actually.
Oh.
And
Where have you been?
we help people move their finances offshore. I am an optimist. I believe that there will be a point in time soon in which we can just do crypto and ditch fiat. But I believe that today everybody in the room will agree with me that we are not there yet. So, exchanges. If you do crypto to crypto, you're in a gray area that you can navigate. The moment that you're doing crypto to fiat, you're subject to the regulations that come with fiat. So for example, if you're an exchange in Costa Rica and you transfer from crypto to fiat, you are subject to Costa Rican regulations for financial intermediaries. How do you think this is going to evolve in the near future? You see some very large players. You see Coinbase in the US. You see Bitcoin Swiss in Europe that are trading billions of dollars worth every month. The small exchanges, how do you think it's going to play out in the near future in terms of regulation?
I've not talked to Costa Rican regulators, but I've talked to other ones, and I'm a former auditor, so I have a ton of friends that have went to the regulatory bodies in the U.S. There are a lot of countries that, even crypto to crypto, their position is existing rules apply. So I think countries need to get together and figure out some level of uniformity. I don't know how optimistic I am about that, but we need to see that happen.
Yeah, I think it's going to take a long time, and I think the more major institutions get in, the more the laws will start to change.
Yeah.
So it's going to be more the 5 to 10 year track versus the 1 to 2 year. That's my short answer, and we are out of time. If anyone has a quick 2-word answer to that, shout it out. Yep.
All right, I want to say in a certain country like China, crypto are banned, but that does not stop crypto to fiat because there's a peer-to-peer OTC market. That's almost like a blockchain of human being acting as money exchanger. It's impossible for any government to really shut it down.
Yeah, absolutely. Like there was a meme going around, the government trying to ban Bitcoin, and it was a baby gate over a sidewalk. You can't really unless you shut down the internet and all electricity. That's the one way to do it. So, anyways, thank you so much, guys. Thanks for being on the panel. Thank you to the audience. You're amazing. Thank you for all of your great energy and questions.